Alrighty, sorry for the super weird cut. The SD card was full on the camera. But I figured I'm actually going to take you for a little bit of a walk. Rubbish, we'll get rid of that. So, for a lot of the stuff on the Skyteams, the wiring's pretty simple, or would appear to be. So, something I did, and don't laugh at my workbench, is I got myself a little printout of the wiring diagram. A3 did it at work, laminated it. It's good to go for a lot of more complicated stuff. You don't need that to muck around with your tail lights or your indicators. You really don't, unless somehow in the process of what you've been doing, you've managed to cut through some of the more important stuff, or shit, should I say. Again, don't laugh at what I got set up here, but feel free to. The other thing you don't need is this or this. They are, however, both extremely helpful when things get a little bit more complicated. You can hear the bikes burning past going up the hill. This is the beer that I was talking about. How good is that? Anyways, this little bugger here is fantastic for a lot of things. It's taken me a lot of trial and error to figure out how to use it. It's also helped out that I've had the wiring diagram, if I can use my words right, to help me with that on this as well as this. So it's this little bugger. So just to speak through it real quick, 45 bucks from Bunnings does everything you need. 25 bucks, super cheap auto, but Bunnings now also sell them as well for I think about 10 bucks cheaper. Get yourself a large one. It's got a nice little test light on the inside. Clamp that onto an earth and away you go to make sure that your circuits are running. So, just chuck that down there. So, we're going to be working on replacing the tail light. And this goes back to what I was saying a while ago. I'm not an expert. I do things, I guess you could say, my way rather than the highway. And I do them so I can figure out what I've got going on. Apologies again for the weird cut. But the big thing for me with things like this, because I don't understand electricity, I really don't. Engine, I can pull it apart, it's like Lego. It goes together one way, it comes apart one way. You can get instructions for it. A lot of people are going to say the same about wiring. You can pull it apart, you can put it back together, it's got instructions, etc., etc. The big thing for me that I've discovered is that companies who make stuff like this or like this don't give you a diagram to go with it. I'm not promoting smoking either, it's just one of my things I do while I'm in the garage, so bear with me. The big thing is that when you come to, shall we say, what's coming out of the product you've bought that's not standard, is that it doesn't actually marry up to the wiring diagram you've been given or can get for the bike, and the wires that come from the bike itself don't necessarily marry up to the colours that you've got from whatever it is that you've purchased to put on. For example, out of the tail light I've got a black. That's a natural assumption that it's the earth. For this light to be functioning like I showed you before, you would assume it's going to go into a black wire. It doesn't. It's brown. That's me with my colour blind as well. Now I might say that on the wiring diagram that it's meant to be brown, and that indicates earth, and then your other two functioning lines are green and green orange or green yellow, I'm not too sure. So for me, it's a trial and error process when you've got a new product like the new tail light, and we'll flick this around to show you that the new tail light has got a black wire, a green wire, and a blue wire. Now the beauty of all of this is you only got 3 wires to muck around with. That's it. It's not like you're pulling apart the internal loom or anything like that. So when we're trying to install something new, you've only got so many combinations that you can create to actually get it to function correctly. So what I'll do is I'll pause you here for a second, I'll get myself set up, and then we'll start going through the process of figuring out, as a layman, without using this, with something that's already functioning, trying to install something that's got different wires to what you're about to pump into it. Because, as I said before, I've got a black earth, that's similar, good to go. But then I've got a red, then I've got a black white. And I've only got a green and a blue on the new. So I'll pause you there, come back, and then we'll get into it.